Hi folks, welcome to my Bit Retro Journal. Today I'm going to be reviewing some of my plans for the summer. It's beginning of June and I usually have most of summer free and outside of traveling, I spend a lot of it doing some of my retro hobby stuff, and I got a whole bunch of stuff piled in front of me because I just wanted to share with my viewers what my plans are. I did the same thing last year, and what I learned is that I didn't do all my plans and not all my stuff became videos. So this isn't a preview for upcoming videos as much as it is just a preview of what my plans are. And some of these things might come to fruition, some of them might get dropped. But still excited to share with you what my plans are. The first thing I'm going to be working on literally next week, or this coming week, is I have this Sony cassette recorder, and I'm excited about this because I've had these cassettes, and they have things like an assembler that I wrote as a kid on it, as well as some modem software. I don't have a modem, but editor and file transfer, and I want to get these off of here, and I haven't been able to get it with anything else. I'm hoping a good cassette recorder will be able to get me a signal that'll actually load on my Timex Sinclair 1000. The problem with this thing, however, is that it needs belts, and so I bought belts, got them in here. So the first video will be fixing this and seeing if I can save and load to it from the Timex Sinclair 1000. And then I'll continue on, depending how long it takes. It might be a second video where then I'll try to get this off. I think the first thing I'm going to get off is the Assember, because I think it's a really quality assembler. I've forgotten actually what it, specifically all the things that it, features it had, but I think it was pretty well written. It was one of the last things I wrote before I ended up moving to the QL. So, yep, excited about that. So that's the first project, and then again, so it might get a couple of videos out of it, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but let's move this out of the way. The next project will be, I got my Spectrum, I got my interface 1, and I was able to finally get the networking to work between this and the QL. Right now I have the Charlie Ingley's VL82 in here, I think is what it's called, which is a ULA replacement, and so that causes the networking to work. And what I want to do is I have my Q68, which there's a few videos on that. I'll point up here to the one that I did a review of. And the Q68 does have networking capabilities, so I should be able to network my QL as well as my Spectrum to it. And I have this little board with all the parts that I need to actually build that network interface for the Q68. So that's one of the other things I'm going to work on this summer, and then see if I can get my Q68 to act like a file server. Again, the Q68 is sort of the equivalent to a Spectrum Next, but for the QL, and it's a FPGA based board. One of the other plans I have is to build a case for it, which I haven't gotten yet, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I want to build the network interface card so that I can plug the again, the QL has built-in networking, and I want to actually do some videos on networking. Eventually, that may not come out over the summer, but I wanted to do a comparison of videos, QL, other machines like the Mac, the Amiga of the 80s, because the QL actually was pretty advanced in that sense and what it could do. The other machines, I think the Mac had Chooser that could, no, they didn't have Chooser, but it had the ability to print to a printer, but the early Macs did not have the networking feature that QL had, which could literally talk to two computers. And one thing I can show is talking to this. And again, the reason this works is I need Toolkit 2 on this with special timings, and then I think they need the VLA. I don't know if I need Charlie Ingley's VLA in there. I'll have to remember if that was required for that or for something else. But I have it in there now, and this thing works beautifully as well. So yeah, these will be my Sinclair videos, and I have Andrew Pinnell's mastering a ZX microdrive book. Andrew Pinnell is actually on the Facebook on the Spectrum group. I got to talk to him. I also have his there's a QL book I have. It's green, and I think is it Mastering the QL or something like that. I put it in the title. So I'm a big fan of his, and he's actually active on the Facebook group. The other thing I want to do with my Spectrum is I just ordered it, and it's going to take a bit to get here. But I bought a programmable joystick interface. So as opposed to one where you just plug it in and it. From what I've read, I think there's a way to map it to. They're either all mapped to these keys, or there's an in. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with it, but I think there's a set of calls that all games use. Maybe that's why Spectrum joystick interfaces you can buy. They're a dime a dozen, and they all work. Because I always figured, like, why would you buy a joystick interface if you can't use it on a game? But I guess all the games kind of conform. But this one is the Downsway programmable joystick interface, and it uses a. It doesn't. I don't think it keeps memory between boots, but once you program it, it'll keep that, and you can reprogram to something else. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if you can see my joystick in the corner here. So I'm going to use that and play some games, maybe Manic Miner. So that's on the agenda as well. And then, so some of the cooler projects, I'm talking about the Q68. My wife got me for the holidays. This box is empty because it's very powdery, but I thought I'd bring in the box anyway. So this is instant mold. So it's clay, I think. And then she also got me this book, Molding and Casting Handbook. And I did watch a bunch of videos on YouTube as well. And what I want to do is I want to make molds. Because I had this idea of creating a facsimile of the... If you read the Atkinson book, Delete, Design History of Vaporware, there is a next QL in there that's got a wafer compartment that's red. I'll put a picture up. Yeah, it looks really cool, and I wanted to always create a mold for that because I want to put my Q68 in there, and I did already buy a keyboard for it, which I don't have. It's at the office still. That would fit in there. It's USB, and you'd have to get I do have a USB to PS2 converter, and create actually a cool looking QL with a mold. So I want to do mold making. We'll see how that works. Maybe I'll start off with some smaller stuff first, and then eventually see if I can't create a mold. Because it looks better than 3D printing. You just have to be able to texture it, and maybe I'd use the QL as a base and then try to make changes to it. I don't know. But anyway, so I want to do mold making. I think that'll be cool. Then one of the other projects I have that would also maybe go with, I do have a 3D printer, not that it's off camera. I have a better one. I have an Ender one that I don't show off on my channel very often. But this was a project I did many years ago. This was I'm not going to take it out of the box, but this was my attempt to create a Atari style mouse, meaning that instead of it would act like a joystick, moving backwards and forth. It would just sort of, as you're moving it forward, it would put pressure on these contacts to where it was, like you're hitting the forward key, and as soon as you stopped, it would take pressure off, and that kind of worked. And I just prototyped it with cardboard and wood, and I wanted to maybe get it 3D print a case for it and see if I can't get this to any further. I have to get a better cable because this is so stiff. And so, continue creating my mouse and maybe creating a print of it. And I did show on my channel a while ago the ice mouse that comes with ice. The only problem is with ice mouse, which is mice, the keys don't work anymore for the interface, for the GUI. And I like using the keys. So anyway, so this is my mouse, and I want to further this as well. I think that's going to be cool. The other thing I have is this, which is it's my PowerBook 180 battery, and I actually want to open this up. And I was looking at it, and there's no easy way to do this. So I think when it's kind of bulged, what I think I need to do is I need to Dremel this open here. and then take the batteries out, and then try to replace it with new rechargeable, I don't know if they're NiCads or not, batteries, to see if I can rebuild this thing. I wish I could open this up the way you're supposed to, which is there's a seam here, but it's right here. It's on the bottom. But there's just no way. This is just molded shut. Yeah, there's the seams right here. And if you try to open it up, I've seen videos of it, you just crack it. But I'm thinking, just take this plate off and then Dremel under this plate. And then perhaps try to wire something up to where instead of having to weld the batteries together, maybe you could create some sort of compartment that, again, 3D print, where you can put the batteries in and just have it be contact fed. And then you just put it in my PowerBook, and I'd have, even if it's not the full, has a full battery life of an actual PowerBook battery, I could at least revive this a bit. So I think that's another summer project, because it's not one where, I don't know, it either works or it doesn't. And since it's going to be more Dremel work, I don't know if this is going to be more of a video for the masses or just the end product of having a battery for my PowerBook. I don't have my PowerBook here at the moment, otherwise I'd show that as well, but this is heavy. So these are NiCads, I assume. So that's another project I have. I do have some stuff planned for the QL besides networking. What I'm currently also working on, as school has just finished and again I'm in summer, is one of the things that I use a lot in school is Excel. Especially for, or I have my students use that when they're doing some science stuff. I teach some security stuff, and sometimes you have to analyze things like the randomness of values, etc. And they use Excel and scatter plots. And so what I want to do is demonstrate how the QL back in the 84 came out with it's Quill, the word processor, Abacus, the spreadsheet, Easel, the graphics program, and then Archive, the database. And I've already done an extensive video on Quill and how I could use it as an emergency editor, because you can convert things pretty easily over to, I think there's a Quill to RTF, and then you can go RTF to Windows Word. But I did one brief one with using Abacus to just to show you how I could sort some words and numbers, which I did for an AI video. But I think I want to dig deeper into this, and actually, what I realized with Abacus is that if you combine it with Easel, so Abacus and Easel, that's modern Excel. I mean, you have data and then you show data. So Easel is sort of a hybrid between being a subset of Excel, but also even almost PowerPoint, right? Because you can create slides for that. So I wanted to explore that a little further and see how powerful is Easel combined with with Abacus. Sorry, I keep saying Archive, the spreadsheet and the business graphics program. And so that's what I'm currently working on. I'm going to do a video on that. Definitely. Don't know when that'll be out, but I'll definitely be doing a video on that. And then what I want to explore is, a long time ago I wrote a command shell based on ZX81 and QLDOS, and I kind of want to explore. So there's this new game that came out, and I'll do a video on that as well, called QStar. And the author actually created two versions of QStar, QStar 1 and QStar 2, and I asked the author, hey, why don't you combine them into a single game? They said, well, they wanted it to run on an old original QL, and the memory requirements might be too much. And so they kept them separate. And so I was like, well, you could keep them separate, but just, have the user choose one or the other. And I don't know if he understood it or not. So anyway, I ended up writing, I was able to copy all of them onto a micro drive, but both versions of them. And I just kind of renamed one, all the files that weren't named with a 1, I added a 1, and all the other files that were in QStar 2, I named them as 2 because it has a bunch of helper files. Some of them are the same. And then I wrote a script on QL SuperBASIC that allows me to basically act as a wrapper, so I can choose between one or two, and it's basically just like Perl. And I wanted to demonstrate that again, another useful feature is not just the applications that come with the QL, but also the power that SuperBASIC sort of gave you. And I know that on the Amiga has the which language does it come with? Is it R? And so that's pretty powerful. And then, but yeah, the QL just uses good old BASIC that you know, and it just sort of combines it with operating system commands. You can do all sorts of cool things with that. So I want to do a video on that as well. So using the scripting features of the QL along with the a couple of pieces of software just to show you that, simply being able to have it configure your disk, your floppy, or in this case, micro drive, and just run the program and have it run successfully. So that's another thing I want to do, and I'm excited about that. And then what are some other projects? I'm still working on, I recently bought, so you can see here, I got my Spectrum. And what I'm looking for currently, and if any of my viewers have something to help me with, I would pay for shipping. I'd even pay for the item, although I don't want to take a computer out of commission. What I'm looking for is a ZX81 case, because I have my old ZX81 and I threw the case away as a kid because I'm an idiot, or you're dumb when you're young. And I want that ZX81 case back. Ideally, I would love to have the US version where the output port is here, but I'll even take a UK version. I've been looking on eBay, but they're always $100, and they come with the board. What I'm looking for is an inexpensive ZX81. Maybe that the board is so shot that there's no way to use it, so that I can actually have the case. But the other thing I just recently bought, because I've only really been into the Sinclair products. Again, I'd rather have a ZX81 than Timex Sinclair 1000, but I have two of these just because I got one on a yard sale and I got the other one on eBay. And then I bought this one. I think I bought this one on Facebook. But I bought a Timex Sinclair 1500, which is basically this thing along with its RAM pack. In this case, although unfortunately it's sort of a silver color and not beautiful black, but it turns out the case is identical to this. And I don't know if the expansion port is smaller here, or the opening is larger or smaller. It's more textured up here, but it's silver and brown or whatever, or silver and light gray or dark gray. I don't know. It's not pretty. Like, I really like the black, and, QL's my favorite, but even, like, the ZX81 was even better with the red lettering. And, but yeah, so Timex Sinclair 1500. Now, I posted on a British Discord I belong to, and their comments were funny. They were like, abomination, that's just filth. But, yeah, but I just wanted to see if, I do have one of the other projects I have is my other Timex Sinclair 1000. I want to put internal RAM in there, and that's the one that I have a joystick on, and it's not working currently, so I have to actually revisit that as well. So the Timex 1500 already comes with built-in RAM. It's a different board, even has a different ULA, so that's going to come in. So I'll probably do a video on that and play with that. And then that's kind of my summer plans. I think I need to fix my Amiga. I might have to recap it, so that's probably part of the summer. So I got lots of, it's funny, the QL has been good to me. No recapping. I've had it forever, other than changing the keyboard membrane. It's been really good to me, whereas my Amiga, the sound doesn't work now. Need to recap that, and other than that, it's been pretty good, and I had some cool videos just this past month for Amiga, so that's cool. And the Spectrum, I think I need to get a keyboard membrane. So if the Timex Sinclair 1500 needs one. I might buy two to put a brand new one in here as well. But other than that, this has been pretty good to me. I do have a second Spectrum, a 16K one that I've lent to Noel from Noel's Retro Lab, and he's busy right now finishing a game that he's working on, but soon he'll be getting back to retro videos, and he was going to do a video conference call with me to talk about trying to fix it. So you might see me on his channel as well, because I wanted him to, because I couldn't figure out how to fix it. I tried everything. And so he's going to take a look at seeing if he can resurrect that Spectrum 16K. But this has been good to me. This has other than the keyboard stuff, which I had to sort of recut to fit in, this has been working well. So, and like I said, I wish I had this as a kid. It's one of my favorite computers. Again, I loved that I grew up with this one and the QL, obviously. But yeah, this would have been a great little machine to have as well. The all black ones. So that's what my summer plans are. I'll end here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.